Today is Saturday, the 13th of December, and I think I wanted to vent a bit. Not about anybody this time. Sometimes when I say vent a bit, it's about somebody. No, flow normally, but not this time. The sun is going down, and you can feel the air getting colder. And it's 10 to 5. The days are at their shortest for the next couple of weeks. The 21st of December is the winter equinox. Winter solstice? Winter equinox? I don't know what's the correct phrase. The shortest day. And I've never known days so short for me, in that I get up, I have my coffee, I play Anno for a little while, trying to find new things to do. And then today, at about 3 o'clock, because I didn't have any salad or anything, but I had lamb stew, so at 3 o'clock I decided to eat. So I ate my stew and some soup, and I watched a documentary about people talking about Sam Peckinpah. I was contemplating going into Orizon, but I kind of left it too late, and it's bizarre, but even going in at like 1:30, you're pushing it, because like right now it's a few minutes away from being dark, and it's getting very cold. So it's 5 o'clock, and I've eaten my dinner, and now that's it. I mean, I'm just waiting for bed. Which I know to flow, and a lot of people would be a shocking state of affairs. I think the thing with a lot of people as well is they watch TV, and TV is a valid excuse for doing nothing. Somehow, if you find something on TV to watch, and maybe I keep saying this, but for some reason I just can't seem to get around to switching on the thing and finding something of interest. I can't find. And yet, after listening to Sam Peckinpah, I was thinking, would it be interesting to watch the full movie Cross of Iron if it was available, because I've never seen it all. And I'm thinking maybe I could watch that in its entirety, or maybe some other Sam Peckinpah movie, and see, is there anything different in them now than the last time because I haven't seen anything like that for years. But in general, it's just so hard. There's such a resistance to just search and find something, it tends to be easier to pick up my phone and just scroll, or play chess. But lots of people will spend the day like me. But somehow, if you're slouched in the sofa watching TV, it seems more sane somehow than like me. I'm just looking out the window, and I'm listening to the air conditioning, and I'm talking. And so there's a sense I'm really doing nothing. But when you're watching TV, you're not really doing very much. In fact, we don't do very much, I guess. In a lot of instances, it's more being occupied. If you walk, you don't do very much, but you are indirectly helping yourself, so that seems like a good thing. But there's a part of me still feels somehow I'm wasting time, or I'm not fulfilling my potential by doing nothing. And yet there isn't really anything wrong with it, you know. I have spent my in the past, I've looked forward to this moment. But when you're standing by the door and you're thinking, God, there's nothing else for me to do, I'm just going to wait for bed. That mixed with the thing of turning 60 in a couple of weeks, I think maybe there's a new sensation coming of, my God, you're wasting valuable time. Whatever the word waste means, whatever we're supposed to be doing, because I could get on a train and go to X and get to a meeting. I mean, I couldn't today, but let's say I put the effort in to do something like that. I'd be occupied. I'd be busy, and the time would go quick. But at the end of the day, maybe I would sleep more soundly. I'm not sure I achieved anything different than just sitting here. So I'm a bit stressed out about things. Yeah. Flo told me that we have $100 voucher to help our electricity bill a few days ago, and I was trying to access it, and no matter what I did, I could not get into our electricity account. I couldn't find a way. I have done it before. You get into the account and then you just click on some buttons and you activate this thing, and I'm still really annoyed that I couldn't do it. I'm annoyed that none of the passwords and none of the things seem to work. And I think it's €100, and we have our bill is €69 a month, and it's okay. It would have been just a month. And then my mind went to the fact that Flo is the only person putting money into our account now. Her 1,400 from her yoga and her flat. And I'm really freeloading, as the Americans would say, off her at the moment. I'm not contributing anything. And it bothers me. I've kind of felt inadequate with Flo at the best of times, but now it's really bad. Because literally the only money going in is her, unless something happens with the crypto. And then psychologically, if I'm cashing out some crypto for us, it feels like that's more to do with me than her, even though it's a large part of that investment is her as well. I did manage to get some money through the French course last year. It was €700, €750 a month, which was at least something. But now, nothing. And when we get into next year, it's going to be a problem. But that's all for the future. One of the reasons about enjoying this time, I said to myself, I was going to put all those things out of my mind. Like a good Eckhart Tolle boy should. Not think of them. Because I'm certainly not looking for a job today or in any day soon. I'm not going to try and get a job on the week before Christmas. And so I should just try and relax as much as I can. That way of saying things is annoying me. I don't mean to do this inflection where the inflection goes up, because I'm always complaining about people doing that, and now I'm doing it myself. Fuck. I just want to enjoy the free time, but it's there's something about when it gets to the you can't, even in a situation like this where I'm on my own, and I really don't have a care in the world at the moment, you know. Got nothing to do except whatever I want. And yet the core, as we used to say, drama center, what's the core of the person? When I've got nothing to worry about or think about, there still seems to be this anxiety that seeps in from somewhere, that sometimes can give itself a reason, you know. I can focus on, oh, my teeth, and there you go, that's why I'm anxious. But then lots of other times there isn't any reason. I've been aware of this for years now, but it's a funny thing not to be able to get rid of. You can sit here and somehow the fact of not having to do anything and have been completely free makes me anxious. It's like, it's bizarre. You think, why the fuck would that make you anxious? You're in a position that you spent months looking forward to, you know. But there it is. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I wish I could, if this idea of visualizing a more happier person worked, I wish I could do it. I wish I could visualize myself in some future situation where I'm getting money, and I'm proudly showing Flo our bank account saying, oh, my money went in, look. And I don't mind what she does with it. I'd feel so much better if I had money coming in. But when you're alone like this, and you've got this time, and you realize there isn't really anything to worry about, and then ironically sometimes, because all the small stuff is gone, you start to contemplate, perhaps you could call it the big stuff. You start to think, my God, I'm 60. What's going to happen? What's the point of it all? What'll I do next year? Where are we going? You know, all these things, the insecurities of the future, which are very understandable. The fear of the unknown and the fear of what could happen. And sometimes if you're obsessed about your teeth or about your eye, then at least those things, they don't have the space to get through, you know, because you can kind of only focus on a few things at the one time. But in moments like there are today, especially kind of I'm watching the apartment here get darker and darker as the sun disappears. And the night's coming on, and it is so fast. It is like, almost like my mother said, sometimes she goes to bed reading a book and she can't believe that it's another night. And it's a bit like that with me. The days, it's like I get up, I look at Anno, I eat, and I go to bed. Then I get up, I have my coffee, I eat, and I go to bed. It's so quick. I was thinking about the Connemara yesterday and the fact that it had a way of kind of pacing out the day in a nice way, because you didn't have to get up early. I get up earlier now than I did then, but you had to be there by 10 o'clock. That was our, no, was it 10 or was it 11? It may have been 11. And then you might be there till 2. You know, and then maybe, you know, but it's a morning. It's actually getting up later than I do now, but it's still, you have to get up, you have to get out of bed, and you have to go in there, and you have some kind of morning, midday kind of session. And then in the afternoon, more often than not, I may have to go and get some shopping or go to the déchetterie with the bottles or something, you know. And then you come home maybe at 3, half 3, 4, and there is that, especially at this time of the year, there is that long afternoon session where you can have a nap, do something. But then at 7, and this was always the thing, and I appreciated this at the time, I'm glad to say, it was really tough in winter going back to the Connemara in the pitch dark at 7, knowing that you're going to be there till after 9 and you may only have 2 customers. But the good thing about it was that it split up the day really nicely. And when you got back at around half 9 or 10, maybe even a bit later, depending on if you had people or not, you stayed up for another hour and you went to bed at 11 maybe. But you really felt like you had a kind of a proper day. There was some spheres in the day, if I had to say it like that. There's no spheres in my day anymore. It's almost get up, go to bed. It's like get up, have coffee, dinner, go to bed. It's like it's one thing. But with the Connemara, as bad as it was, it did give you the sense that, God, it's been a while since this morning, you know. You could look back and go, what did I do today? Well, we had to get up, I had to drive in, I did shopping, we had that customer, I cleaned up here, I had to go there, I went back. You had the sense that something happened in the day. I guess I'm venting. Is this all there is? I heard that phrase in a movie. It could have been Faulty Towers even. Could well have been a comedy movie. Comedy movies and comedians, they're very good for bringing up the stuff that philosophers used to bring up. And that just sitting here looking at the light go up, you could think, is this all there is? But then on the next thought I have is, well, it was something I heard recently. Your feelings toward everything comes not from outside, it comes from inside, it comes from yourself. So it's up to you. You can look at the scene of everything becoming a silhouette outside and the sky turning pale blue, and you can find some wonderful aesthetic and art and magic in that. And in everything. And just enjoy the days. Also, sometimes days like this, they can end up being quite memorable in the future. Sometimes you'd be surprised at what can kind of stick, what can become nostalgic. But yeah, at the moment, like I say, it's gone 5, 5:15. And I normally will be going to bed at 9, and I won't sleep or anything. I'll just play chess. I'll play chess, I'll scroll things, and maybe by midnight I'll try sleep. But that gives me 4 hours in the meantime to sit here in the dark. You'd kind of think I'd miss the because well, actually, yeah, this day last week I was in Malaga. Couldn't tell you what I was doing at exactly this time. May well have been in a bar, the Hard Rock Cafe maybe, or the other one. May have been walking around somewhere. But I was surrounded by people. Everywhere you look, people. Bars and cafes filled. And I really enjoyed it, that part. Being on my own sometimes, it was very nostalgic. It was kind of like going back to the London barfly days. And a bit too far from Orizon for walking. It's especially now with the days so short. You'd almost need to go in the morning, which I'll probably do at some point. And then the other problem with Orizon is I don't feel comfortable going to any of the bars or cafes. I just I just don't. I kind of always tend to see people I know. And I'd love to, I mean, Fort Calkia would be a good place to go and just go around, but unfortunately you drive, and so you can't drink anything because you don't want to in any way get out of control when you have to drive 8 miles back to Orizon, especially with the very limited kind of time. So I'd be worried about that. It's the same thing with taking a train or a bus. I will probably take a bus to Manosque, because that's only about 40 minutes away. And if I took a bus in the morning, it'd give me plenty of time to get back. I could maybe park my car in Orizon. I say these things, but you need to have the motivation to do them when the day comes. And most mornings I just can't really be bothered. But yeah, I don't know what else to say really. I feel a strange parting of the ways, in a sense, from people, because there was a time I kind of felt I could explain things to people and get onto subjects that affect us both and find some solace or some therapy or something in that, and shared stuff. But I don't feel I can talk to people anymore. There's certain things we can speak, Martine and my mother. Then there's lots of subjects they are into that I'm not really. And then there's other things I can't really say, and it'd be even difficult to express. And this goes for people like Rowan or Simon or um, John Woodgate, anybody. I don't really feel there would be a point, and even therapists, because I know what they're going to say to me if I put forward my situation. And I want a kind of some person to respond to me like some classic text from Nietzsche or Schopenhauer or any kind of really deep thinking, philosophical, Jungian something inspiring, something magical, something that doesn't simply say, well, you need to get out and meet people, because this is normally the fucking thing you get. Well, it's up to you to do this. More some kind of a statement from people or something. And this is what kind of a Nietzsche thing, which is like, yeah, but this is life. Yeah, but that's the great battle. Yeah, but if you can make something of your solitude, if you can, you know, this is something maybe Simon did say. If you can be with yourself, and if you know, something deep and original, and where you're not running away, you're not trying to become an extrovert. You're not trying to become like everybody else, because that seems to be the only solution. But it's instead of that, someone is encouraging you to embrace stuff in a different way, or someone is kind of morally supportive with you and saying, you know, some people are like you, and there's nothing wrong with that, and but if I spoke to anyone, it'd always be the same response. Why don't you go on Zoom and do a meeting? You come over to us. No offense, people, they're all trying to help. The help I need is more deeper, is the best word I can think of to describe it. Maybe I should go back listening to some of these guys I used to read. The ideal thing for me was the best of both worlds. You lived in a place like Carlow or South Ealing, and you have moments when you're sitting like this, like I am here, you're completely alone, and the sun is going down and everything, and you get a bit fed up and you don't want to watch TV, and then what do? You put your coat on and you walk down the street, because it's, you know, you're in a built up place, and so 40 minutes down the road or 20 minutes down the road, you get to kind of the center of something, and it's a Saturday night, so you go into the bar, and it's crowded, but that's exactly what you need. I was able to do that in Malaga. I kind of was quite happy with that. I went to a few places that were very crowded, just walked in, and I was fine about it. There was no more nerves, you know. And in that situation, you've the best of both worlds, because I do think we all need people. I think I need people. And sometimes it's not necessarily to talk to people even. It's to be with people. It's somehow by being in a crowd of people. It was like that in Malaga. I get to watch people. I get to, there's very interesting relationships goes on between people when you don't know each other, especially with a person on their own. There's lots of imaginings, there's lots of kind of feelings and intuitions and chemistry. It's kind of nice, because, you know, you can look at this girl and she can glance at you, and then I can make up the scenario, you know. I can think, and you can tell sometimes, because if it's not just the one quick look, and then there was once or twice in Malaga, I happened to be sitting down, and there was like a single girls once or twice sitting other places, and you can kind of tell when they're glancing at you every now and again. And even if they never talk to you, you never talk to them, there's a relationship there for a bit of time, because you're wondering who they are. If there is some kind of a connection, they're wondering who you are. What does that guy do, I wonder? And they're watching you, and you're a clean slate. They have no idea who you are, what you do, and it's kind of a bit like being an actor, because maybe they can project something onto you. And same with me, I look at this girl, and I've no idea, but you can project that this girl is probably she's probably intellectual, and she'd probably be very interesting to talk to. I bet she loves movies and stuff like this. What you're doing is you're imagining the girl you'd like her to be. But there is something happens in these relationships when I'm out like that. It definitely, it used to cure something. It used to fulfill something. It sorted out that social aspect for me. I didn't have to speak to anyone, but it was just being I remember it vividly, especially in winter time, getting out of the cold and going into a packed pub and finding a corner and just listening to all the talking and the laughter and feeling the heat and seeing the faces. And it used to just do me. It was my, what would you say, my dosage, it's not a good word, of the social. Especially when you had music involved and stuff. I could go in, some to be jukeboxes and things, and you could go in and put on your own music and sit down, and just being in close proximity, I think, to other human beings for a while. That's where it really served a good purpose. Then you have one or two drinks, and as long as you don't go crazy, you just have a nice experience. Unfortunately, I can't do anything like that here. There is the walk to Orzon is just, it's not something I do at night. Especially now, my vision is desperate at night, and walking would be really unpleasant. And also, I don't feel comfortable in the places in Orzon. And even if places were a bit busy, there's not a pub, with the same kind of atmosphere. So I don't have that way of, that really, it used to really sort me out, even in the early 90s, when I was in Sutherland Avenue, if I had any money at all, I would go and I would experience that, just being a crowd. Even on the tubes, going to work and stuff, you're with people, coming back at 6, you're with all these people. It's like your daily dosage. That's what I wanted to say. Your daily dose of your social life, Did you get enough vitamins today? Did you get enough of people today? Yeah, I was surrounded by them. Not necessarily to speak to them. But here is nothing like that, really. I'm too far. I think I'm on number 2 track on this. I uploaded a load of these the other day, so I'm quite up to date with this. I have over 200 audio videos on my channel through all of this time. Hello, Bob. How are you? Bob came in earlier and he had a scratch on his neck. I had to spray some disinfectant on him. The thoughts of Bob getting an infection around his neck again, and me trying to, the idea of, what's wrong, Bob? Having to put him in a cage and all that stuff. Jesus. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now for this, because I think I'm going to give Bob a bit of food. Adios.